Hi, everyone. This is Courtney. We're going to get started in just a couple minutes. Roger, I did see your test chat there. That's perfect. Can you actually let me know if you can hear me? Oh, looks like you can. I just want to test my sound to make sure everything is working before we get started. If you go down before we go, we're going to start right at 1 o'clock, so just in a couple more minutes. At the bottom, underneath the screen, there's a section that says polls. Down there, if you want to answer, there's a couple polls there. Give me an idea of sort of who's here and make sure that I'm running a webinar to touch all of the problems that you're having with Facebook and what I can kind of teach you today. So if you can answer those polls for me before we get started, just to give me a bit of an idea, that'd be great. Yeah, Nick, we will definitely go over that today. And if there's any times where you want me to expand further on a point, I can definitely do that. All right, looks like some people are putting in their polls. Thank you. For those of you who just joined, you can fill out the polls that are underneath the presentation screen. It just kind of helps me know who we have here today and what you're looking for. All right, I'm looking at some of these pain points too, just before we jump into this, and just want to let you know we will be talking about targets a lot today. So that's actually probably the biggest takeaway of this webinar. So we're definitely going to go over that. And then the pain point of you're not seeing the results you want. That actually usually comes down to targeting. So again, that's something we're going to go over today, and we're actually going to look at results and talk about which kind of reporting matters, and so you can know what is a good result and how to get them. Now, there's a couple people just rolling in, so I'm just going to give a couple seconds. For those of you who just joined, and sorry for everyone who's heard this a couple times, down at the bottom, if you could just kind of answer the polls that are underneath the presentation screen, helps me give an idea of what kind of pain points you guys are having so I can make sure I touch on all of them. All right, let's jump in and get started. You can answer those polls underneath the screen throughout. I'll keep an eye on them, and you can ask me any questions in the chat on the right. So let's jump into this. Just to make sure you're kind of in the right place. This is sort of an introductory guide for Facebook paid ads for presentation or for destinations, presented by VAMONDE. So how many of you have been on this screen and you felt super intimidated? Because I totally get that feeling. When I first saw all the options in Facebook, I was completely overwhelmed. Today, I want to help simplify the confusing and daunting task of Facebook paid ads for destinations. So I just want to quickly go over our agenda for today. The first thing we're going to look at are campaign objectives and the 3 best campaigns for destinations. I'm then going to quickly go over a budget recap, talking about daily versus lifetime budgets. Now, if you're going to take anything away from today, the number one most important is this ad targeting. I'm going to go deep into the detailed targeting for destinations and targets that you should be using, which will help your results. I'm going to then go into ad content quickly to talk about when to use photos versus videos versus links, a little bit into reporting, and then we'll finish with a Q&A. So just to let you know who I am, I'm Courtney Whiteside. I'm the digital marketing manager at VAMONDE. So VAMONDE is software built for destinations that supports content creation, marketing, and deep analytics about your audience. I focus on the organic and paid approach across all of our digital channels. My specialty is in Facebook marketing, and I essentially market experiential content. I am a sports and marketing enthusiast. I have a sociology and marketing degree from the University of Guelph in Ontario, Canada, and a master's in sports marketing from Georgetown University. Now, before I get started, I really want to stress that there is that chat on the right or a question section below. Feel free to ask questions at any time during the webinar. I'm more than happy to repeat something or stop and go deeper on a topic. There will also be a Q&A at the end of this if you want to wait for your questions at the end. Now, I'm not going to go over this whole slide. You will receive a recording of this webinar once we're done. I just want to give you a little background of VAMONDE and what we do. So VAMONDE is a digital experience company. We work with a lot of DMOs to make their city look awesome digitally. What I'm going to do is show you how we use social to amplify these digital experiences. So first, kind of a bit of a success story. Choose Chicago wrote VAMONDE Experiences to tell stories of their members that go deeper than a social ad. So what we did was we used social to help amplify those stories. And these are just some of the results. So in just 1 month, Choose Chicago content received 8,000 views. The ad reached 39,000 people, and it had 110,000 impressions. And we were able to get the average cost per click for this ad down to 9 cents. So today I'm kind of essentially showing you how we did that. So when you're in Business Manager and you click that green Create button in the top left, the first thing that you'll see is this page, and you'll have to choose your campaign objectives. Now, there's a lot of different options. It can be kind of overwhelming to know which one is best for me. So when we go through this, there's actually 3 that are best for destinations. The first one is reach. It's under that awareness section. Now, this is best used for strictly awareness purposes. What Facebook does is it optimizes for impressions with no consideration to clicks or actions. So if you're just trying to get a lot of eyeballs and just let people know about your destination, this is a really great one to throw in a video and show a lot of people kind of who you are, what you're about. And then later you'll run ads that are more consideration focused. So if you want to reach a lot of eyeballs, but this is a great ad, but just make sure that you know you're not going to be getting a lot of people that go through to your website in this case. Now, the next one is the traffic campaign objective. This is under that consideration section. This is actually my preference, because with a traffic campaign, you get the benefits of awareness while also adding in a little consideration. So this is best used for pushing people to your site or VAMONDE experience. And what it does is Facebook optimizes these ads for link clicks or landing page views. Now, what that means is Facebook will send your ad to people who are more likely to click on a link or view a website through Facebook. So like I've mentioned, we've kind of have a lot of CVBs using our platform to write content about their destination and promote their members. So when we run an ad, let's say for Choose Chicago, we may run an ad that's something like the classic Chicago restaurants. These ads are running as low as 5 cents to 10 cent cost per click within this traffic campaign objective. So what that means is it only takes 5 to 10 cents for one person to click on that ad. Now, what our CVBs will typically do in this case is they'll include a call to action on the VAMONDE experience that pushes the users to purchase tickets, book a hotel, or something to just kind of help drive traffic to their members. So if you have a goal of increasing the views to your website, promoting your members with content deeper than a post, or even promoting your VAMONDE experience, then you'll want to use this traffic campaign objective. Now, the last campaign objective that makes sense for destinations is post engagement. And again, this is under that consideration section. What this is best for is if you're trying to grow your Facebook following. So what Facebook does is they optimize this campaign for reactions, comments, and shares, meaning that they will send the ad to people who are more likely to engage with the post on Facebook. So the reason that you can grow your following using this post engagement campaign is because everyone who reacts on your ad, so that means anyone who likes it, gives it a love, gives it a wow, gives it a laugh, all of those people can be invited to follow your page. So this is a great way to grow your destination's Facebook page. And then what you can do is continuously communicate to that following organically. Personally, I do this. I use the Facebook page app to follow who have liked my posts and then invite them to follow there. Or you can also do it in your business manager by checking your page's notification and inviting them there. Hey, Regine. I see you're having some troubles with the sound. We have, let me just, sorry guys, I just want to help Regine here. Hope that's how you pronounce this. All right, can I just also do a sound check if, Roger, can you still hear me? Thank you, Roger. Hopefully my notes at the top will help there with some of the sound issues. There's been issues like that before. I'm gonna keep moving on. The great thing is that you will receive a recording of this webinar. So if ever the sound cuts out, don't worry, you can rewatch it later and you'll be able to get that there. So those were the 3 campaign objectives that work best for destinations. Now, at the end, after you do that, you'll click that kind of save to draft button and you'll see this screen. So on this screen, there are 3 types of layers to your campaign. There is the campaign itself, the ad set, and the ad. Now, I know a lot of you probably already know this, but I wanted to really quickly go over the different layers of a campaign, which you see there. So the campaign itself is simply your objective or goal. It answers the questions of what do you want to get out of the ad, for example, link clicks, reactions, etc. An ad set is your budget and your target. So this is where you set up who you want to see your ad and how much you are willing to spend. And lastly, the ad is simply what the users will see. So this is your actual visual. Now, within each of those, we're going to go over the different sections within it. So when we click that ad set, the first thing that you do is you're going to choose your budget. Let me just reply here. So for the budget, there are 2 types of budget. There's a daily budget and a lifetime. Now, the one thing when it comes to budget is I can't necessarily tell you how much you should spend. It really comes down to how much you are able to budget, but also how well your ads perform. So the one thing I will note is I'll give you a little background of some results that we have seen. So for example, we have run post engagement ads, those campaigns for engagement. In just $9 received us 183 engagements, which was 152 reactions that we could invite to follow our page. For $200, that saw us 8,000 engagements and 2,000 reactions. For reach campaigns, just $40 can get you 26,000 people reached for just $40. And then for our link or traffic campaigns, we have seen that for $40, we saw 360 landing page views. $68 got us 766 views, and $178 would get us about 2,000 views. So that gives you like a little bit of an idea. I'm not saying that those numbers are going to be exactly what you're going to get when you do it. It comes down to those typically had cost per results of 5 to 10 cents. But what I will talk about is sort of this difference between daily budget and lifetime budget. So for your daily budget, this is best used for testing. The one thing I will highly suggest is that you put money aside for testing. The reason why is that you're able to test content type, different targets, even different types of media, and you'll know what really works well for you to make sure that you're always using ads that are getting kind of the bang for their buck. Now, when it comes to testing, it's really easy to do that. $5 a day for 4 to 7 days is just enough that you need to be able to understand if your test is working well or which ad is working best. So it's pretty cheap. You can just do $5 a day for 4 to 7 days for that testing period. Now, once you've done your testing and found the ad that works best for you, you can move on to that lifetime budget. Now, lifetime budgets are best used for evergreen content. So what this means is if your ad's going to run longer than a week, you may actually consider a lifetime budget. So lifetime budgets will optimize your budget for success. If you spend $100 lifetime budget, Facebook may use $5 on Monday, $8 on Tuesday, $10 on Friday, $20 on Saturday, etc. So it'll never spend all your money in one day, and it will spread it out and use up your budget across your whole time frame. However, what it does do is it allows your money to be spent at the most opportune times. So it's really it's almost like a smart budgeting for you. It uses your budget in a smart way. So again, if you're going to be the main takeaway of this is if you're going to be testing, you'll want to use a daily budget and then use your lifetime budget on that evergreen content or any ads that may be running longer than a week. So once you've chosen your budget, you need to choose your location. Again, this is in the ad set. There's actually multiple different location options that you can target, and I think this is one of the most underutilized targeting options in Facebook. So there's 3 that make the most sense for destinations. The first is everyone in this location. This is the most used option. It includes people who live in a selected location and those traveling in the location. The second is people who live in this location. So when selected, Facebook will only send your ad to people who live in the chosen location. So this should be used when you're trying to attract tourists from a specific area. So what's really great about this is you can also add multiple locations to the ad. So for example, if you're trying to pull tourists from all the major cities on the East Coast, then you could target New York, Washington, Boston, all of those in the same ad, and send them an ad to kind of promote your destination and promote traveling. Now, the last one is people traveling in this location. So this includes people who are tourists and excludes people who are locals. So tourists will receive the ads while they are currently traveling in the location. So if you're trying to promote a specific restaurant or attractions to tourists or some of your members to tourists who are currently traveling, then you can use this location option and then choose the location that you are in. And remember, if you have any questions throughout, please don't hesitate to ask in the chat section. So now, like I mentioned earlier, if you're going to take one thing away from this, it's definitely the targeting. This is also within that ad set. Once you've chosen your location, it's now time to choose your detailed targeting. So this is where you'll be able to see high relevance scores and low CPAs. For destinations, I'm focusing on if we are targeting people who live in other cities and wanting to travel to your destination. Your ads will serve best to frequent travelers. So There are a lot of people in the world who may be interested in your content, but would never be willing to travel there. So by targeting the behavior of frequent travel, you will be sending your ads to Facebook users who are actually travelers and would be more willing to leave their home to go to your destination. Now, in this case, we've actually already built a pretty great target, but now we want to narrow the audience further to create an even more efficient ad. So this is where you click that narrow audience button, which comes up right underneath the search. And then it'll look like this. Now, once you have this screen, you can add in interests. So now you're going to want to narrow your audience with interests. For example, maybe your destination is well known for its hiking trails. You can target people on Facebook who are frequent travelers and are interested in hiking. Now, make sure, though, that the ad you end up creating all resonates with your target. In this case, your ad may feature a VAMONDE experience about the best hiking trails in Tucson, or think about what your destination is known for and then see if there's an interest in Facebook. Now, what I would suggest is building your ad first so you know exactly what the visual will be, and then create your target based on that ad. So I've included some other interests that you can find there on the right. I also kind of went through and creeped a couple of you. Now, some of you only put your first name, so I couldn't find you on LinkedIn. But Roger, we'll start with you because you've been helping me out so much today. For you, Roger, I've looked up a couple things. It looks like you're coming from the Akron, and some targets that would work really well for you are national park, hiking. There's hikes there, biking, mountain biking, skiing. If you want to really promote your art museum, that's another great one. And also, you can target an interest in minor league baseball and try and promote people to maybe see other parks outside of their area for your minor league baseball team. For Joy, I have to admit I've never been or heard of, I hope I even pronounce this right, but Altoona, I hope I pronounced that right. I looked into your area. It looks like something that would work really well for you is an interest in heritage or cultural heritage. Those are both, oh, I'm so happy I got that name right. Thank you. So cultural heritage is an interest in Facebook that could really work to show some of your heritage centers. It also looks like you have theme parks, maybe some wineries. Theme park and winery are both interests, as well as theater to promote any theater shows. Natalia, for you, I noticed that you have a lot of kind of skiing and biking, that those would be great interests for yourself. Theater and ballet, those are all interests in Facebook that would work great. The last person who gave a last name is Alyssa from Oklahoma. There's really great interest for you, including sports, shopping. Horses would be a good one to promote your horse show or live music in the area. This is an interest that you could use in Facebook. Now, to some of the people I have on here today who did not provide a last name, I will be giving my email at the end of this. You're more than welcome to let me know where you're coming from, and I will kind of do some research on your location and let you know what interest would work well for you. I would tell you to put in the chat right now and do it off the top of my head, but unfortunately, I'm originally from Canada and my geography of the US is not great, so I would not be able to do it off the top of my head. But please email me at the end and I will be happy to provide you some interest that would work well for you. So again, this detailed targeting section is very important. The more you can target, the cheaper your ads will be. So I know somebody said in the polls that an issue they're having is they're just not seeing the results. I guarantee if you do the targeting like this, you'll see those results. So now that we have our target and our ad sets complete, we move on to the ad. And if people don't know how to create an ad, I can go share my screen later at the end of this and go through it. I didn't put it in for this webinar, but I do want to talk about the ad content type, meaning that there's kind of 3 different types. And when you do a lot of reading on social media, people always say videos are the best, links are the worst. But once you start working with it, you start to realize that that's not necessarily the case. So it really depends on what campaign objective you're running. So if we think about those objectives we talked about earlier, photos are the best used for post engagement. So if you're trying to grow your following and getting people to react to your photos so you can invite them, videos actually don't work well because the tendency is people watch the video and move on. In your reporting, you'll see that the results are really high for video engagement because if they watch 10 seconds of your video, that counts as an engagement. But if you're trying to grow your following, the best is to use like a high quality photo, something that grabs the attention, forces them to react, and then you can invite them to follow your page. The next one, photos can actually be used for reach campaigns as well, but really the best one is a video. You're going to be showing these to a lot of eyeballs. You want to create that video that gives a little bit more of a background into your area, into your destination. Let people really know what you're all about. Show a lot of people at once. The one thing that I mentioned with videos is for ads, you should try to keep your videos under 15 seconds. And personally, trust me, I know that is not easy. It is terribly hard to create a good video under 15 seconds. However, the reason why you have to do that is if your video is over 15 seconds for an ad, it will only be placed in the news feed. Now, there's a lot of different placement options for videos with Facebook. They can go into their new watch area as ads. They can go into instant articles, and Facebook will show it where you get the best results. If you have an ad over 15 seconds, you're only going to get that one placement. And so you're banking in on that one spot. Now, the last one is links. These are best used for traffic campaigns. So again, like we talked about earlier, when you run your traffic campaigns, this pushes through to your website or a VAMONDE experience or whatever link you want to push towards. When it comes to links, that targeting we talked about is super important. The more targeting, the better. I've run traffic link campaigns that are as low as 5 cents cost per click or cost per result, which is just as low as some of my photos for post engagement. Now, when you put in a link into the ad creator, it automatically pulls the photo that comes, the lead photo of your page or the head photo. If you don't really like that photo or it doesn't really match with what the message is of your ad, you can change this. And if you don't know how, I can show that at the end in the Q&A section. But you can change it to do a more high quality ad and then keep it with your link. So again, the more targeted, the better. You can get these down to 5 cents cost per click, I guarantee it. So we're gonna move on to reporting. Now, so I know that Facebook gives you like so many different numbers. I don't know if you've ever tried exporting your page insights, but it's the most daunting, terrible thing I've ever seen. It's super confusing. When you are in Business Manager and you're seeing all these numbers, you can customize what numbers you see. Again, I'm happy to go in after, share my screen and show you how to do that. But these are the numbers that really matter the most for an ad. So from left to right, we have results. This is how many times essentially your goal was reached. So if your campaign objective is reached, that's how many people saw your ad. Post engagements is how many times people engaged. And landing page views is for your traffic campaigns, how many times someone clicked through to your landing page. Reach is the number of eyeballs, essentially number of people that saw your ad, while impressions is the number of times your ad was on screen. So that's why sometimes you'll see your impressions are higher, because the ad may go on the screen more often, but is only seen by a couple people. Or sometimes they're also, it shows more than once to somebody. Now your cost per result, this is essentially how cheap your ad is. So for example, that 84 cents, that first one, means it takes 84 cents for 1,000 people to see my ad. That's a reach campaign. The second one, it took 3 cents to get one person to engage with my ad. And that last one is it took 9 cents for one person to click on the link of my traffic ad. Now the next one is cost per click. When you look at that last one, you'll see that it's the same. This is because traffic campaigns, their result is a click. So you'll see that that number will be the same. But if you do a reach out or a post engagement campaign where you might actually include a link, but that's not the main goal, you'll still get a cost per click to understand how many people clicked through to the link that you included. So that $13 means it took $13.34 for one person to click the link that was in my post engagement ad. Again, that wasn't the main goal of my ad, but it's something to kind of keep track of. The next is click-through rate. This is just of the people who saw your ad, what percentage of them did click through. Frequency, keep an eye on your frequency. The reason why is this is how many times your ad has been seen by one person. So anything more than 2 means you might now be annoying your audience. You don't want them to be bombarded by your ads on Facebook, because that will be bad for your brand. So you want to aim to be under 2. The only time where frequency, you're likely okay to see frequency scores between 2 and 4 are if you're doing a reach campaign and you actually really want them to just kind of continuously see it so that they know who you are. Now that last one is relevance score. This is extremely important. It tells you basically how relevant your ad is to the target that you've chosen. And what happens with relevance scores is this is actually changing right now. So I really highly recommend that you Google relevance scores. There's a write-up by Facebook that explains their new ones. Some of you may already see it. Mine hasn't personally updated. A lot of major brands are seeing updates already. But right now, you still want to aim for a relevance score of 9 or 10. So when we're looking at the goals of these numbers, something you want to aim for is for a cost per click of 10 cents or less, a click-through rate of 5% or higher, and a relevance score of 9 or 10. Now, the reason you want to hit those is Facebook will then deem your ad as something that's beneficial for its users. That means that you have a high-performing ad, and Facebook will do everything it can to make sure that you're spending less. So Facebook will really work hard for your ad, make sure it's going to the correct target, make sure that it's being put in the best placements. You'll get prime time. So this is really important, because if you think of business or Facebook, they're a business. So Facebook wants even the ads on their website and on their news feeds and everything to be something that is beneficial for their users. So if you hit these 3 scores, then Facebook deems it as being beneficial to their users, and they'll work harder for your ad. It's now mutually beneficial. Now, before I jump into the Q&A, I just want to touch on a little bit more about VAMONDE and its member benefits for DMOs. Essentially for VAMONDE, just kind of think of us as like your experience engine. So what we do is we provide you the storytelling tools. We handle the tech to supercharge your website with things to do pages, events pages, and we essentially make your city look awesome digitally. And then we provide you visitor analytics so you can learn what content works best for you, as well as get a better understanding of who your visitors really are. But you know what? I promise that's my last sales pitch. Let's go into the Q&A. So this is now the end. So what questions do you have for me that I can answer? I do have the opportunity to share my screen. So if you want me to show you where some of the features are in Business Manager, I'm happy to do so. You can ask questions in the chat or on the left. I also do want to add, well, we tend to see at the end of Q&A that people start to drop off. So before you drop off, I do want to let you know that if you want to learn more about VAMONDE, you can visit info.vamonde.com/cities, or feel free to contact me, Courtney at VAMONDE.com. I am happy to either tell you more about VAMONDE, or I will also go through with you with your Facebook. You know, if you're having any other questions that come up when you're actually making the ad, I'm happy to answer any questions. If you want me to even like share your screen and show me some of your results, and I can give you some info on like how you can improve your ads, I'm really happy to go through that with you. So feel free to reach out to me. I'm gonna give a couple more seconds just for me. So we got one question here, thoughts on Instagram as a channel. So what's really interesting actually is when you create an ad on Facebook, now that Facebook owns Instagram, your ads actually go on Instagram. So when you run, let's say you're running a traffic ad and you're trying to push traffic to your website, Facebook will run those ads on Instagram. And it's a really smart platform that it will essentially run your ad where it makes most sense, meaning if Instagram's working better for you, Facebook will run your ad 100% on Instagram. So using Instagram as a channel, when you're creating your ads, I would actually suggest doing it in Facebook, or even just letting your ads run on both, because Facebook optimizes to make sure it runs on the best channel. From an organic perspective, Instagram is definitely a great spot to be right now if you're trying to reach a younger audience. If you're trying to reach that younger millennial audience, then an organic approach on Instagram is going to be very strong. However, if you're not trying to reach a millennial audience or a younger audience, don't worry about Instagram, and you can focus more on Facebook. Should ads be about Instagram? So Nick asked, should ads be about Instagrammable spots? And, you know, it's actually really funny. So you're seeing that a lot. People are writing about kind of Instagrammable food, like Instagram locations. And that is a really hot topic right now. I can tell you we've run VAMONDE experiences. We have some content on VAMONDE that are most Instagrammable spots in Austin, in Chicago, in Tucson. And those ads on Facebook are running with relevance scores of 10, click-through rates of 5 to 7 cents, the cost per click of 5 to 7 cents, and the click-through rates are 10% to 15%, which is insane. So I actually would really highly recommend writing a content piece for your site about Instagrammable spots, Instagrammable food, Instagrammable restaurants or attractions, because those are really a hot topic right now. Did that answer your questions, Nick? All right. So if there are no other questions, I'll just remind you again, if you want to learn more about VAMONDE, you can visit our website, info.vamonde.com/cities, or feel free to contact me. Again, I'm happy to go through your Facebook with you, let you know kind of some of the tactics that I use. For some of you who didn't provide me your last name and I couldn't creep you on LinkedIn before coming here today, feel free to message me. let me know what destination you're coming from, and I'm more than happy to get an idea of where you're coming from and what interests would work best for your Facebook page, and make sure that we can give you the results that you're looking for. All right. Have a good one.